Oye, chicas, watch out for those bobas.
Señor, we are las bobas.
Hola, mi gente.
Hola, mi gente.
Welcome to Las Bobas. This is our first podcast movie review, and today we're going to be doing The Craft, 1996.
In this channel or this podcast, we're just going to be diving deep into some movies, maybe TV shows. We will see how this goes. So let's go. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Fran.
And I'm Evelyn. You can call me Ev, same thing.
Okay, so let's talk. So now we're going to be reviewing The Craft. So let's talk about who is in it, what's the director, the producers, and all that jazz.
All right. So first of all, this movie, like you mentioned, is from 1996, and it was written by Peter Filardi, directed by Andrew Fleming, and it was produced by Douglas Wick. Douglas Wick, yes. And like Francis mentioned, it was released on May 3rd of 1996.
Oh, that's my sister's birthday, May 3rd. Yeah.
Oh maybe she needs to watch this then.
I wonder if she did. Yeah, I gotta ask her.
So some of the characters were played by Fairuza Balk, which is plays Nancy Downs. Then there's Robin Tunney, who plays Sarah. And then there's obviously Nev Campbell,
Love
Canadian,
her. Oh
yes, who plays Bonnie. And then there's Rachel True, who plays Rochelle. And then some of the secondary actors were Skeet Ulrich, who plays Chris Hooker. Then there's Christy Taylor playing Laura. And then there's Brecken Mayer playing Mitt. Those are just some of the secondary ones.
Okay, you know that Skeet guy, when I saw him, because again, like this is my first time watching this movie. I've never watched it before. So when I saw him come on, I was like, isn't that the Scream guy?
Yes, it is. It's actually the Scream. And so is Nev Campbell.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
And I
believe Scream was after this movie. So this was Nev Campbell.
Is that you? So like for me, that the whole movie, I referenced him as the Scream guy.
All right, so we're gonna be calling Skeet Ulrich, who plays Chris. We're gonna be calling him the Scream guy. So yeah, y'all know what we mean when we say Scream guy.
So I'll just give like a brief summary of the movie. Okay. So again, like this is a 1996 movie, The Craft, which is about 4 high school girls who are considered to be weirdos, outcasts from society. They are fascinated with witchcraft and uses magic spells for their enjoyment. Later on, we see that they discover that there is indeed consequences for their magic, and that whatever you send out, you will get back 3 times 3.
Oh.
Okay, so let's just talk about like the themes and stuff that like I saw in the movie. So I put some of them in my can you see it in my little Nightmare Before Christmas tea mug?
Ah, cute! Because it's Halloween, y'all.
Let me break her up. Okay. With some ASMR. Okay, so one of the themes that like I saw the movie was really about acceptance, you know? And one of them I would say because when I was like looking more into this movie and all that stuff, so for example, like with the main girl, Sarah, the first couple scenes, like, you know, we see her, she realizes she's like a natural witch. You know, she can move things with like the pencils and stuff like that. Or she can create like at the beginning of the movie, like I was still debating like if she was the one who did that to the house, like, you know, like how was that leakage thing? the porn inside. I was like, was that her? Because like, you know how like she told like Nancy, because again, like she's a natural witch, but like she doesn't like it because she was telling Nancy that like I hate it. I always screw up. It's like sometimes I wanted to rain and a pipe will burst in my bedroom and I'll just get flooded. So she's not like confident as a witch herself, you know? And moving on along to the other girls, like Nancy, you see, like she's not that confident in herself. She's really trying so hard to be a witch and all that stuff. And with Bonnie, her acceptance is like her external beauty, just because she has like
Yes.
those scars and burns and stuff.
Yeah.
And with Rochelle, I was like I was like, okay, what's your thing? Because you know what that one scene when they all like gather around and they're asking that deity Manon, like for power and stuff. And she asked for the ability to not hate those who hate her, especially that racist person.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, so you kind of see all that stuff. And then like towards the end, like I don't know, like what are your thoughts on that? With that theme, like of acceptance and the girls, like Sarah, is just struggling to be a witch. And then later on in the movie, she finally accepts herself as a witch, you know, and find out her mom was a witch. Um, and kind of having to invoke the spirit in order to survive, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even with like you mentioned Rochelle, like acceptance because she goes to a predominant white people high school, you know, accepting yourself, like especially in the 90s, we all know 90s how it was for BIPOC people. So I can only imagine what Rochelle was, you know, feeling inside, you know, feeling that, like you said, acceptance of herself, right?
You know, I must say that this movie, I was actually happy to see like a black person like as one of the main leads in this film.
For
And I
90s,
was like,
right?
yeah, in 1996 too. And I was
Mhm.
like, right on, you know. And the fact even that she had like she wore her natural hair too. I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
get it, girl. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe I should have watched this freaking movie when it came out. It wouldn't be so beneficial to me and my little curls, but because I was watching an interview of that actress, Rachel True. Is it Rachel True?
For Please Rochelle, yes.
Yeah. So I was watching like a recent one, like a 2020 interview of her from Yahoo Entertainment on YouTube. If you want to check that out. Um, I honestly laughed though when she said, you know, we don't like
Because I don't like Negroids.
I was like, what? Like what that is such like I could tell like where they're trying to go with, and they're probably being censored to not say it. But I was
Oh
like
yeah.
that, but I was just like, that was just so random to me to be like, okay, okay. Okay, so then when she makes the wish to no, she didn't make the wish. She kind of got Sarah to kind of help her to get back at that girl, right? By taking her hair and then
Yeah.
interlocking it with her own. And then like that caused that girl to like lose her hair. So you know the scene in the washroom when she was like actually like really losing all of her hair, and then like Rochelle, like Rachel's character is just like looking in on her and just be like, oh my gosh. So like the actress was saying like during that in that scene, she was saying like how she wanted to play it more torn than Glee.
Yeah.
She could have played it Glee, but she wanted the character to be thinking, "Oh God, I realize I've done to them what they were doing to me," and because I know how that feels being Black and having mixed emotions about it, rather than being like, "Oh great, she's like getting her upper ends," you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, "That's good." Like I like that. Like the actress took that
In a
took
different
it upon
direction.
herself, yeah.
Yeah.
Then just and you know what? That character was actually going to be a white girl.
Oh, interesting.
See, like I could like yeah, like it should be there saying like how like it was gonna Rochelle was gonna be I'm not sure if that was the name, but like that character was going to be played
Yeah,
as an
it was going to
Asian
be a
person.
different name, I think. Yeah. And then they made it Rochelle because
Mhm.
they decided to put in, going back to what you were saying, how like Laura uses the N word, like a different type of N word. I think it's also to kind of portray the fact that like Laura seems to be like this uppity girl. So like if you even especially in the 90s, if you use the like the N word, I think it was for people who are more like from like impoverished areas or like even the like the hood, like you know what I mean? Like people like like that used like the N-word more often back in the 90s. And I feel like if the fact that she used that specific word instead kind of made it seem like she was more like, you know, like she was like, oh, I'm rich. I don't
Oh, like the
like
term is
those
like a higher
terms.
status
Yeah,
than
exactly. Because that term is still like not, you know, and I only know it because in my country, like in South America, like back and then, like we kind of still use those terms because we don't know the N-word, right? But we do know that one. So I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. But don't quote me because I'm like not an expert on these things, but I'm just thinking like that's the image it gave me. But yeah, definitely acceptance. Yes, I
even like
found
with
it.
Nancy, right? Like with how like that girl went through so much just because like again, she was trying so hard to be a natural witch like Sarah, when especially like when I can see her getting jealous, right? When like Bonnie and Rochelle, like they got what they wanted. Like Rochelle got revenge or
Yeah,
justice against
and
that
then she like
Laura
walked.
girl.
She was upset.
Yeah. And then she walked off and she's like, and then she was like just being much more like huffy and all that stuff. Even like when she got the powers from Manon because she invoked the spirit, like the fact that like she transforms into Sarah and seduces that scream guy.
What the?
I was like, whoa, girl.
So
Like,
then it kind of makes you wonder, was Nancy the only one who kind of did not accept herself? Or does she just embrace and accept the fact that she's, I don't want to say negative, but she just takes it to a different place. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. I think that because you know at the end when it's her and Sarah, and then she's like to Sarah like like I know I'm crazy sometimes, like I'm sorry, so I
Also,
think
she like accepts herself of being like that type of girl.
I think she knows that she can go to Sarah from 100, but obviously like she took it to the next step, by like murdering and stuff. So
Spoiler. No.
I mean, as you can see in this little scene here right now, these girls are levitating behind us.
Oh yes, that's Nancy in the middle, Nev Campbell, and Rochelle. You don't see Sarah in that shot because they're actually trying to intimidate Sarah in that moment.
Yeah, we're all looking at Sarah right now.
I'm levitating too. No, I'm joking.
Honestly, I just think of that song,
What song?
that song from Dua Lipa, Levitating. Girl, have you heard it?
I think so. I'm not sure. Don't judge me. I can listen to whatever music I want.
I'm trying to like, how could I? Okay, I'm not gonna sing for you, girl. Look it up.
No, I was waiting. I was like, yes.
Because I was like, oh, okay, it's the things that you see on TikTok, like, you want me, I want you, baby.
I want you, baby.
Blah. Yeah. It's that
I'm
one.
like, okay, yes.
Yeah. So so anyways, like, so that's something like for the acceptance thing, because like, it's like be true to who, like the more you're true to yourself and the more like you welcome it and accept it. And sometimes you got to check yourself to make sure you're not like overreaching or overstepping your boundary or just being straight up rude, or like, because like what Sarah says at the end when Bonnie and Rochelle went to go see her, and they just threw like little shade at her, and Sarah's like, well, screw you girls, and she threw a little branch at them, and it's just like, be careful or we're gonna end up like Nancy, so it's like check yourself, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
So and also like with Bonnie, like her again, like her thing was about like her scars and all that stuff. And then so when she asked for Manon to make her beautiful externally as she is internally, and he did that, right? And then like and she started gaining her confidence, like, and again, like she was accepting the like let's a stereotype, like, but like that like superficial look, of herself. So like she's getting her confidence when she's taking off her jacket, but okay, when she came to the classroom that one time and she took off her jacket, and I was like, oh my god, Bonnie, look at you. But I was like, but wait, you took off your jacket during that montage too, when all the 4 girls like walking in the cafeteria, because I was like, oh, because when I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is probably like the moment where they realize like they can be something, right? They can do stuff. So when I saw the one in class where she took off her jacket again, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Bonnie, look at you!" I'm like, "Y'all saw her arms already in that last scene." So I'm sure that was like a little mess up that like people, if you don't pay
Oh,
attention
I
to
didn't
it, like
notice
you'll miss
that.
it.
I just saw it as like, because she went to her treatment and then they removed the scars, and then she came to class late because she had her treatment. And not only was she like taking off her jacket, but this time she didn't have scars. And on top of that, her demeanor was different. She was very like you said, she was confident. Like that's the way I saw it. You know, I'm
See,
sure she's taken off her stuff before, and that's how people got to know that she had scars.
yeah, okay. See, and so, and then like again, like what even Sarah said, like she became more narcissistic, more like mean, like a mean girl, because she again she was accepting that superficial look of her, and she liked it,
Yeah.
I don't know. Even at the end, I don't think she really accepted it, because again, like for her to go back to Sarah and be like, "Hey, do you still have magic? Because we don't," It's like, why you want her to like make you pretty again more?
But that's actually really important. It kind of shows that even though they don't have magic anymore, they're still shady. I feel like I feel like if they had stayed like they're nice, like people that they were before, like humble people, maybe they would have still kept their powers.
And
But at the end,
go
they're like, "Oh, hey, Sarah, we just want to apologize. And hey, do you still have powers?" And then she kind of like says something, and then the girls are like, she probably doesn't. Like, do you know what I mean? So that kind of shows you like they're still the same girls,
But
even though.
but that's what I'm saying. Like even towards the end, like Rochelle and Bonnie, like they never really, I think, truly accepted themselves,
Yeah.
i.e., as weirdos, as the outsiders in society, because I think they were striving for that power to kind of deflect away from their insecurities and stuff. And yeah, they went to Sarah, and on the end of Sarah, she embraced it. She embraced the weirdness. She embraced like the powers and all that stuff. And yeah, so that was like one thing for that acceptance.
Yeah.
And then, but that goes into like, I feel like another one that I want to talk about, which was
Check that out. Let me see. What's the next thing? Oh, what is that?
sisterhood. Sisterhood. Honestly, when
Oh.
I was like, girl, when I was watching this movie, I thought I was going to be watching some really good, female empowerment, sister, kind of like I was like singing that little theme
Like
song in my head, like
Sisterhood and Traveling Pants,
sister.
witchcraft style.
Yeah, like or something like that, right? But like again, even at the beginning, the fact that like Bonnie was like, girls, she can move a pencil. She's like the fourth, And then even at the beginning, they were using her to be into their friend group because they just wanted her to be the fourth. From the get-go, it kind of set the tone of what their friendship is.
Yeah.
And then Sarah just like, no, I'm gonna be like with the scream guy. And then that guy turned out to be, and then I felt like because he was her, and those girls were like, oh gosh, she's too, we can relate. It's just like, when in Rome, why not? Just like go together.
Yeah, I feel like they used the Chris thing to kind of talk to her, because I remember they went up to her when she was watching the guy in the football field.
Is that the scream guy? They're watching him, right?
Yeah, they're watching the scream guy, and they're like, "Oh, you watching him practice?" And she's like, "No, I'm not watching anybody, like whatever." And yeah, so I feel like you're right. Like they use that to kind of like get in with her. But even I feel like Nancy even told her, she's like, "He's bad. Like don't." You know what I mean? But
even like before, when Bonnie was like, when Sarah came up to them at the chemistry class thing, and she's like, "Can I sit with you guys? I need to join a group." And then and then they're all just like, and then only at the end, Bonnie was like, "Yeah, you can sit with us," but it was too late.
even when I was watching that, and she's like, "Yeah, it's okay, you can sit with us." I was like, "Girl, it's too late. She's already gone. She can't hear you." And that's also like it kind of shows that like Bonnie is that like she really shy, like meek girl. She doesn't speak up, and clearly Nancy is like the leader of the group, right?
But it's not even with that. Like she like whispers like as Sarah walks away, and it's just like, "Nice going, Nancy." Nancy's just like, "What?" Then again, like then that's when like I don't know, maybe. And then no, that's when they were stalking her in the cafeteria, like the open area,
Yeah.
and they're just like looking at her
But
and
you
all
know
that
what?
stuff.
You know, it's also kind of sisterhood. There is a sisterhood between the three of them, though. Like
Yeah.
Rochelle,
That's
Bonnie,
true.
and
Yeah.
Nancy. Like Nancy, she's like poor, she's weirdo because of whatever happens in her household and whatnot. Bonnie is also considered weird because she has like burned scars and whatever. And then Rochelle is considered weird, even though she's an athlete, which usually in schools, when you're an athlete, you're considered like cool and whatever. But Rochelle is an outcast because she's Black, right? So it's like that's what makes them kind of like find each other. And I don't know about you, but that was the same thing for me. Like when I was in elementary school, I was a little immigrant child, and I hung out with my little friend who was Sri Lankan, and my other little friend who was like Portuguese, but she was like a little thicker, like a little chubbier at the time. And it was just the three of us. Like we were the outcasts because people were racist and mean. I feel like, yeah, Sarah comes in and they try to, and I feel like in the beginning, they're just like, oh yeah, let's get a fourth. But when they see the amount of power that she has and they teach her and whatever, they kind of like, I guess they form like a bond, right? Through the witchcraft that they're experiencing and like, and they're learning and stuff. I feel like it could have been a good coven had it not been for Nancy going like, because if you notice, even when they were together and like they were doing just like regular little things here and there, Bonnie and Rochelle were pretty good. Like they were fine. And so was like Sarah. And it wasn't until Nancy decides to like, I feel like she kind of, what is that word I'm looking for? Like she instigates stuff, and and Bonnie and Rochelle just, they've always followed Nancy, right? Like kind of like, think about it. Like if you have a true close friendship with like your friends for like most of high school, and then the new girl comes in and she's in your group, who are you going to be loyal to? The new girl or your like other two? Obviously like your other two girls, right? So I guess in the end, they never truly, like they superficially bonded, like you said, with Sarah, but I feel like in some way, they just never truly accepted her because, like you said, their only reason that they like went to her was because they just needed a fourth.
Yeah, I do think that like maybe at the beginning, like you said, like they all three of them bonded for their own differences, and that's how they like stuck together just to survive high school. But then I think like when they got a taste of magic, like true magic, not like what the heck they were doing before,
like
Sarah,
post beach.
Yeah. And then like when they were doing that, like when they got that taste of it, and like they start to like see the benefits, like Bonnie feeling more confident, looking good, whatever. Rochelle.
Right, to cut you off. When we say post beach, we mean when they invoke the four corners. They actually go to the beach and do a ritual. That's what we're talking about, post beach. Carry on.
And then like with like Rochelle, like she, I don't know, like because you see her like again, like that one scene, like not getting joy out of it. But I guess maybe she was also a bit like more like relief that like she isn't getting attacked by this racist girl anymore because she's too occupied with her hair issue, because then like you see again in here all three of them kind of united because even like in the bathroom scene when they kind of like attacked Sarah and they bullied her out and they were like saying like all that stuff like something I think like when they start to like get to that point, I think they each started to be like almost like a Nancy in a way to be gain a bit more confident that like we don't need to do anything. Even in the car ride, right? When they're like, yeah, whatever, I'm narcissistic, who cares? It's like let's just like live our lives and do our thing.
But that's only because Sarah calls them out. Remember, she's like, guys, this is like getting out of hand. People are getting hurt. Like this is not us. Like Bonnie, like you used to be nice, and like Rochelle, like what happened? And they're like, what? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that's something like how like with even like that is like when I feel like they start to like be like, do we even need each other? Like we only can like it's that superficial thing, right? We only need
it's like
each
when
other.
Power gets to you, literally.
Yeah. Like again, do we really need each other? Because even like
they want a power trip, yeah.
Yeah, because like like I can hear the scene like once they after finish levitating, like they Nancy and Sarah runs upstairs, and then Nancy's like, go after them, Rochelle. Oh, go after Sarah, Rochelle. And she's like, but why? And then after she
Bonnie's
yell
like,
at her.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, and then even Bonnie was like, fine, I'll go with you, you know, because like at this point, they're like, wait, like maybe like what are we doing? Like, you know, like we're just supposed to scare her. And this is after Nancy has killed the Scream guy.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's why
Mhm.
Sarah's like, this is like messed up. She's like, we just like killed like a person died. And like, you know, Nancy's like, so. And the girls are just kind of like going along with Regina
Yeah.
George
I
here.
mean, I think the reason why Rochelle and Bonnie were just like taken back because it's just more like because yeah, Nancy bossed them around before, but she was threatening them, right? Like if you don't do it, I'm gonna stab you myself, right? And they're like, whoa, okay, because obviously they
Yeah.
know that she's more powerful than them because of her stuff, and even that like they both just ditched Nancy, walked out because again like bye, like we're not being part of this shit. And then even at the end, like again at the end when they go to Sarah and all that stuff, like, do they even go visit Nancy wherever she is? Who knows,
Who knows? We'll have to go and see the second movie and find out.
Oh, is that? See it
Well,
again.
I don't know, girl. I'm not gonna say anything. Yes, I'm not confirming nor denying. I'm just saying.
Wait, is there a craft too, or talk about Legacy?
Yeah, Legacy is the sequel to this one.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it, so I don't know.
I only saw it because
do
my like favorite movie. So
See,
I
but
was
again,
like,
I mean, I did saw like some cutesy sisterhood when only again when Sarah was teaching them like cute magic, like
yeah,
the
like
light as a
changing your
feather.
hair,
Yeah, the
like
hair.
stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever played that game? Like when they're playing, like, oh yeah, I think I played that game with my friends one time.
It came from that.
Yeah, I didn't know where they came from. Like, yeah, let's just do it. Because I guess clearly they saw the movie and I was just like, okay, do I just lie down
It was a
here?
big hit. This movie was a really big hit. Yeah. Any other themes?
Want a couple more
Okay.
themes? Okay, hang on.
So far we have acceptance and sisterhood.
Okay. I think this is like I guess a big one, but like you see kind of throughout. To me, it's like karma.
Ooh, yes.
Because you know what?
Yes.
What's that a store shop name? Lori something?
Who cares? The witchcraft store.
Okay, that woman. Like, again, she said whatever you put out there, you get back times 3, right? And you do see it throughout the movie a bit, like, like with that Scream guy, the fact that like he became obsessed with Sarah and like, she asked for him to like kind of like her.
She put a love spell on him,
Mm-mm.
but then he ended up becoming obsessed with her. Wait, that kind of did lead to his demise. Like that kind of did lead to.
Yeah, and then because he became obsessed with her, he almost ended up assaulting her.
I mean, to be fair, he did almost end up assaulting her before she did that spell on him, which surprised me why she wanted him to love her after.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, he pretty much assaulted you, girl. Like he invited you out, and then he was like, oh, like let's do this thing or something. I can't remember what he said. And then she was like, no, it's okay. And because she denied him, he told the whole school that she was a really bad at sex. Yeah, she was bad lay. So like I was like, why do you? But I get it because like everybody has to keep in mind these are high schoolers. Okay, like you're in high school. When you're in high school, you don't think about these things. You're just like, the guy's cute, I like him. Oh my god, he's being mean to me, but I really like him.
Yeah, I think it's like it's that dumb twisted mind, like you're thinking like, oh, he's so rude to me, I'm gonna get him back by having him, he can love me even more, but then I'm gonna be the one to jump his butt.
Oh, maybe maybe because she like start giggling after. She's like, oh my god, yeah, carry my bugs and do this and do that, and like they kind of make fun of him because he's like a lovesick puppy, but then it gets really bad.
Yeah, it got really bad. And then even to the bad that like, so like that was like her karma for like wishing that.
And oh my god, kind of shows you like good karma and then bad karma, right? Because with Sarah, the good karma is like she finds friends, like she finds good people to like have her back, let's get back at the Scream guy, aka her, like let's get back at him. That's like her like karmic thing. And then like Nancy, she lives in a really like small little trailer with her mom and her stepfather, who by the way clearly seems to like not see her like a dad, because remember that one point he like lifts her like and then the mom goes, hey, you're supposed to like be her dad, you know? And the guy's like, I'm definitely not her dad. And then he makes a comment, I can't remember what he makes a comment, and he's like, would her dad do this or something, or no, would her dad want to, like, he makes a sexual joke about Nancy. And you have to take into consideration, she's in high school, okay? And he makes a sexual joke, and she's like, and then the mom's like, don't be a pig. And then Nancy gets so upset that she calls
it's because he went after her, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like
because she said, oh yeah, she gets mad and she's like, stop talking or something like that. And then he's like, what did you say, little bitch? And then he goes after her, and she I guess like all the anger, whatever, like everything in her little trailer
just
like combusts, and then the guy has a heart attack, right? And then he dies. But then the good karma is that it's like, because of all her suffering, they find out that like the guy actually had money, and that he left the money to them, you know?
Yeah, and then you hear the mom say, oh my God, what a good guy.
What a sweet man.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like, but we don't even know. It's like, was that actually what happened? Like, did he leave that money to them, or was that like magic involved?
So the one
that's her good karma.
Huh?
So that's her good karma.
Oh yeah. That was like the only good thing that I think that happened to her, besides I guess maybe getting the power of Manon and him gifting her with those like dead sharks.
Yeah.
I guess that was like a good karma for her too. But like with Bonnie again, like her thing is like karma is like when she gets more beautiful on the outside that she wanted, like again, she got like more narcissistic, and I feel like she loses her inner beauty, you know?
Yes.
So it's like she lost that because she's again obsessed with the superficial look that she's going for. And even towards the end, like I don't know, even if she, I know the movie talks more about like the external look, like, you know, like how you saw like when again, like in the scene when those two girls go upstairs to chase Sarah, and then you see the times three, because Sarah was like kind of invoking that, like let them see times three, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Bonnie sees herself with like scars on her face. But again, like for me, I took like the times three, like it could be that, but to me it was like more like she lost her inner beauty, like she's just a mean girl now, she's not sweet, she's not nice. And towards the end, like I don't know if she ever got it back, because again, she just seems more like a lost puppy, just looking for someone more powerful that she can kind of just like leech off of until she can get back that confidence she once had when she was in this coven before, you know.
Yeah, I see it as the let them see times three, as like let them see who they've become. But like obviously when you look in the mirror, you can't see your qualities, but so I feel like Rochelle balding and Bonnie having scars, like burn scars in her face, it's like an exaggeration of what they used to have. But it's like times three, right? So it's an exaggeration. But it's like those things, like balding and the scars, are a metaphor of who they are in the inside. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I saw.
Yeah. The last theme I saw was nature. Okay. So going back to like the snakes and stuff, like, you know, okay, when the homeless man got the snake and then the dad chased him out, I feel like that is almost like a foreshadowing, because since Nancy likes snakes and Nancy had the snake when they all were going to the beach and shit, and then the dad kills the snake, right? So it could just be like a foreshadowing, like,
yeah, that's why I'm like, I feel like the guy plays like a major part, because even at one point, Nancy said snakes are, what does she say? She says snakes are a something being. She's like, they're mysterious, or they're higher beings or something like that. She compliments snakes being special, basically, right?
Yeah. See, and so like, okay, so when you ask your thought about that, so like when they're going to the beach to actually invoke the four corners and on, so Bonnie had a butterfly, Rochelle had a goldfish, Nancy had a snake, and Sarah had a budgie. That's so cute. But okay, why do you think Bonnie had a butterfly? Like, I just want to know, like, and I was trying to figure out like why each of them had these specific animals. Was there a reason, or is it just like
I do. Hold on. Let me just write them down. Hold on. Snake, bird, butterfly. And then what did Rochelle have?
a goldfish?
Okay. So I know snake could be because it goes on the ground, so that can represent earth. The bird can represent air because it flies. The goldfish, water. And the butterfly, maybe fire because it transforms. Like a butterfly goes from the cocoon to thing.
Oh,
and then
okay, that's interesting.
So
yeah,
I think because I know with like witchcraft, they do a lot of like obviously invoking the four corners. Like, so I feel like maybe those each represented their own elements.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like maybe it represents something even deeper than that too. Like obviously like Nancy's into snakes and she feels like the snake holds, like the snake is known to mean knowledge, right? Like that's why doctors use the snake symbol. But I feel like to Nancy, it was like maybe having all the knowledge, having all the power, like, like they're special. They're like, she says, I can't remember what she says, but she says that at one point, she goes, snakes mean this. And I feel like that's what she wants to get from her powers. Bonnie, she has a butterfly because it goes from a cocoon to a butterfly. So it transforms. Like Bonnie she's always wanted that, right? Like to be transformed into something better. And then Rochelle, I feel like they kept it very literal because she gets a goldfish, water, and she's like a swimmer.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I feel like Sarah Bird, because like she wants to be free of like all her like, I don't know, I guess her like torments that she has ever since like her mom died and she tried to commit suicide. So we know she's a tormented girl, right? So maybe she just wants to like fly and be free. Right?
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Really good. See, because I was like, okay, these have to mean something, but I gotta watch this because I don't know, because like it's my first time watching it. I need to see what these girls are doing with these animals, But also with like Nancy and the Snake, because that's a nice thing to be like wisdom. Because I was thinking more like maybe like was the director kind of go with like the biblical sense, like like how they always make the snakes evil and stuff. Because
I really believe it plays into both. But like Nancy does explain what it means at one point in the movie. I forget what she says, but she does explain what it means to her because she goes to Sarah and she's like, snakes mean this, because Sarah says, oh, I hate snakes. She's like, I'm afraid of them. And she was like talking about how she used to hallucinate, right? Because she wasn't sleeping well or something. So she started hallucinating. And she's like, all I saw were snakes and blah, 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 and bugs. And then Nancy was like, snakes are like good, like they mean this, and then they're special.
I think she's talking about like leadership, right? Wasn't this like leadership? I don't know.
I don't remember, but yeah, definitely, I definitely see like nature or just the fact that they're like Wiccans, right? Like they're witches, like they invoke, like you use the four corners, earth, air, water, fire. That's all elements of like nature. And then every time they try to like do spells or whatever, like in the beginning, they used to go a lot into the forest, right? And even when they invoke the corners, they go to the beach, right? So they definitely use nature to.
And I could also play. I was just thinking, like when they did evoke the spirit, and Nancy's like, "Manon, come to me," and like and that goes to be karma because he gave her the power, but like a whole bunch of these like sharks died and were washed up on the beach,
Yeah.
And it's and she said like they're gifts to her. And I'm like, okay. Again, I was trying to think like, why those, like why sharks and not like, I don't know, like any other type of like animal for that. And then like, okay, so then going like again, keeping life in balance, right? Keeping nature in balance, and that's what the shopkeeper said, like, when they're talking about black and white magic, and it's like, magic is it's like nature, and the only good and bad witches come from like the witch itself, like the heart of the witch.
Yes.
That stuff. And like again, like whatever you send out, you're gonna get it back times 3 with the positivity or the negative karma and energy into nature.
Yes.
That's all I saw in the movie.
Very good, Frances.
Oh my god, thank you. Okay,
Alrighty.
girl, show me
Are you
those
ready?
receipts. Yeah.
Okay. Ta-da! Oh no, you can't see it. And so this is my trusty handy clipboard. Oh no, you can't. Okay. And I got all the receipts, girls. All of them receipts. Okay.
That's right.
So
Tell me
I'm
what this movie is about. Give me those
Yes.
receipts. Give me those facts.
Yes, girl. Okay, so some little fun facts. I mean, there are quite a lot that people talked about on the internet, but I just have 3 of them here that I felt like were actually of importance of my time. So, fun facts that I used Creepy Catalog, Mental Floss, and BuzzFeed to find this out. So, turns out that an actual witch was actually used to help make the movie The Craft more believable. So an actual Wiccan, actual witch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it says, to make sure that the depiction of Wicca in the film was as close to real life as possible, the filmmakers hired a witch named Pat Devin as a consultant. So Devin is a member of one of the largest and oldest Wiccan religious organizations in the United States. And the covenant is called Covenant of the Goddess. And at the time, she was the first officer of the group's Southern California local council. So she was like up there in her like coven,
Wow.
you know? Yeah. So it says Devin played a big role in the production process, and at times she worked directly with the actresses. And I quote, "A lot of my suggestions were acted upon, and virtually all of my suggestions were given careful consideration," Devin shared, "even if they didn't all end up in the final version of the film." Now, a lot of people talk about, I think they call it like paganism now. It's like there is like Wicca and stuff. Yeah, like definitely I found that a lot of the stuff that they did was very similar to like real things, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that the fact that they actually reached out to get a consultant again, especially for like the 1996. Like they could have just like butchered
it was a
it.
good movie. It was really well done. It was really, really well done. Like the fact that they did that, yeah, like I think it was really good. I mean, they said that like some of the spells that they used were not like real. Manon is actually not a real thing. Pat actually did like research to make sure that there was no entity out there. So I always think about like even movies nowadays that like have some kind of like, you know, the people are doing rituals or calling out words and whatever. I have always learned that, you know, if you read something, like don't read it out loud, especially because you don't know what you're going to invoke. You know what I mean? So I feel like it was very smart, especially because they had an actual witch. Like she took in consideration. She was like, we have to be careful about what we say, right? So Manon is not real. So that when they invoked him, they're not invoking anything real. But surprisingly, after the movie, some people started using it as like a real thing. So if you search it now, yeah, people actually
that's funny.
Manon as like a thing. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how like something
Pop
like I mean,
culture.
yeah, like something like that can kind of transition into a religion aspect version of it. And see, I also was thinking like maybe the reason why they didn't want to they didn't want to actually invoke an actual entity because it can be scary, you know, with that stuff. And also it could be very disrespectful. Like if you're like, you know, doing
Because,
that.
you know, yeah, like Wicca is real for some people. And for other people, like, you know, everybody has their own beliefs and you don't want to, yeah, like you don't want to disrespect anything, right?
Yeah, like I myself, I'm agnostic, but again, like I'll never like invoke or say anything if it's going to be disrespectful for a certain type of religions and stuff, right?
That's the Latina in you, because they teach us that. They're like, don't mess with witchcraft. In South America, it's like you may not do anything, but if we're very superstitious, so it's like,
girl, I am so superstitious. Like
you can be agnostic, whatever, but everybody in South America is superstitious.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like with again, like, you know, invoking the spirit, right? Even just like the kid games, like, you know, saying Bloody Mary to the mirror, or even the Candyman now because the movie's out, right? And saying that stuff. I would never. I told you this, like how I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for like a full year because I was scared that like I'm just gonna blurt it out like Bloody Mary, Bloody,
Even
all that
Beetlejuice,
stuff.
when I was younger, I was like, I don't know if I should say his name.
Like
But that's
even when I was like, I think I was walking one time down like the sidewalk, and there was like a freaking ladder, and I was like,
oh
my
yeah,
gosh.
go around
Like
it.
I literally walked on the road because I'm like, I'm not going underneath that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, for sure. So next thing we have on this trusty clipboard, and this is actually like, brace yourselves, y'all, brace yourselves. So if you have watched the movie, you know what I am about to say, and you're gonna be like, what? And if you have not watched the movie, you need to go watch it, because so there's a scene.
Well, you should watch it. I feel like this whole review's kind of been a spoiler for people. So watch the movie before you watch this.
Yeah. Okay, so there are scenes where they use a lot of bugs and snakes in the movie. Turns out that the snakes and the bugs in the craft were real.
They look real.
Yeah, they're actually real. So there were around 2,000 snakes used in the climax of the film at Sarah's house. Remember when they put that spell on her and she's seeing things and whatever?
Why they were zooming in so much of these freaking animals. Like, why are they doing all this extra stuff?
I mean, to be honest, I don't think that would fly nowadays, because PETA would be like, hey, and rightfully so, like all these snakes are probably stressed out, and like,
yeah, because they're all clustered together, and they're like awkward fence and stuff.
It was not nice, but like this is the 90s, guys, so it was really not okay. And in the director's commentary track, it's that Fleming is the director, that there was a fake cockroach. The only one was a fake cockroach on Balk's face, but the maggots, rats, and other roaches were all real. So not only were the snakes real, the maggots, the roaches, the like everything, like they were all real. And then the house was a sealed set, and the roaches were bred specially for the film, so that if they did escape, they could not reproduce. Wow. So they were bred especially for the film. So like, just in case, like, because like there could be a mistake and like these roaches could leave, they would not be able to reproduce. So they like cover their behind.
So then what did they do with them after? Did they kill them?
I would assume.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, guys, take in mind, like, if this freaks you out and whatever, like, it's also sad, but maybe they gave some of the rats and like snakes or something to like animal testing or something. Who knows?
Maybe they gave the rats to the snakes.
Oh no!
Okay, so you remember the scene? Okay, the snakes and stuff, like they looked real when they're in like the sidewalk or down the stairs in the toilet and stuff like that. Yes. Even when they're coming out, right, of those funds, the one part that was like, oh, that looks a bit fake, was when they were like placed up against the door, because it was such an awkward position.
Oh, but if, like the thing.
But if that was real too, then I'm like, damn, like those snakes must have been stressed.
Yeah,
because that's really awkward. Just have them there, because it looked really fake. Sad. It looked at like,
I'll be honest, I don't like snakes. That's really sad. Poor little snakes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I should tell my sister, because my sister loves snakes and she'll be very disappointed with this movie.
So sad. Don't tell her. So it was really sad that it's creepy and sad that 2,000 snakes. Oh my god. Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like, with the spiders and stuff, it's right?
Cruel.
Like, yeah, I feel like some of those things probably got overstressed and they probably did, died.
Well, so Francis still works there, but Francis and I, we met at work together, and we worked at a museum. Well, I worked at a museum. She still works at the museum. And there was an exhibit of spiders. And you find out that, like if they get stressed out, they could pass away. Like if they get really stressed out. So seeing people too much and whatever, like it could happen, So I can only imagine if they were used in a set of movies, like I'm pretty sure some of them died.
They're like all like reptiles, right? Like they're all just super sensitive. Like,
Oh my God, it's getting me sad. Let's change the subject, guys.
okay,
I'm getting really sad.
change it. New fun fact.
And fun. So I have one last fact that I found that was really cool. So remember how we talked about how an actual witch was hired to help make the craft, more authentic? So that means that even though they tried to do, like not realistic stuff or to invoke real things, some of the things that they did, like some of the rituals that they did perform were real, So it seems that like creepy things actually happen on the set during the craft ritual scenes, specifically during the ritual scenes.
What do you mean? Like ghost?
Maybe. Listen. So it says, actors and members of the crew claim that during the ritual scene on the beach, some strange things started to happen. So Balk, Nancy, had apparently heard from a witch that the beach didn't like pagan ceremonies. She got
didn't like pagan ceremonies?
Yeah, because taking consideration, like the sea is alive, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
With that, like nature has life.
Mm.
So the beach didn't like pagan ceremonies. Like that's what she heard. So she got sick actually before filming. And when they came back to the beach to shoot the scene, the lights went out and the altar was washed away. And it was really strange. And she says, it was strange because when we would get into the invocation, the surf came up higher and then it would go down when we stopped. And apparently they said like it happened a few times that like, they're like, okay, fine, it washed away, let's do it again. And then,
oh my gosh,
like, okay, the tide is low, it's fine, we're all good now. And then they would start the invocation and then like it would come back and like wash it away. It's like it was trying, it almost was like the sea was like not letting them do the invocation. And then they said that at one point a colony of bats appeared and lingered on set.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, Tunny, which is the girl who plays Sarah, she, on the other hand, was like, no, there must be like some natural explanation for everything that's happening, But then Rachel True, who plays Rochelle, she has also said that they were followed by a white owl several times during filming. Like it just kept following them.
Oh my God, so scary.
Oh, I have actually another fact, but it kind of plays along with this creepy thing. So turns out that the girl who played Nancy, she actually believes in paganism. So she was like in it, kind of plays into it because it says that Pat, the advisor, Pat Devin, she said that on the last day of shooting at the beach, one of the actresses asked me to dedicate her to the path of the goddess. We walked up to the beach in the dark, away from the lights, to a cove where I dedicated her and presented her to all four quarters. For her name, she took the name that I told her, and I would have named my daughter had I ever had one. So then you think about it and you're like, if they did an actual ritual, like a real invocation for this actress, which she did not mention who, but I'm kind of thinking it's probably Fairuza Balk because she believed in this stuff. That's my opinion. She doesn't say which actress specifically. So if they ended up doing that ritual at the beach, I wonder if that's what actually caused these creepy things to happen. Do you know what I mean? Because they did an actual ritual.
Maybe I'm thinking maybe it's because since it was an actual ritual, like most likely maybe this happened like after shooting, right? Or was this during shooting or before shooting?
She doesn't say. She just says that. I'm assuming it's during shooting because if you go to the beach to shoot a scene, she has to take advantage of the fact that they're in the beach, right?
Oh, see, I'm thinking more like maybe it's because like it was a proper ritual that like respected nature. Nature was like, okay, do your thing. But for the filming, they're like, you're basically mocking what's being done here.
Yes, right. And the beach was like, no, you're not doing this mocking thing. It's interesting. I mean, the fact that there were like bats that would come out or like the lights would turn off.
That's scary, girl. I got chased by bats several times.
And this is like bats, not even one. And the fact that like an owl just following them around while they're like filming, like for days, not just one day, for days. The owl followed them for days. Yeah, no, I definitely think that was like some creepy stuff going on.
See, I will be bringing like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, no,
So bringing my
protect,
salt.
like bring like your crystals, like, you know, like do your thing. But the thing
Yeah.
is, it's funny because it's like I find that there's like little things like this that happen when filming scary movies. Like I find that like a lot of times there are like I hear about I like finding out about these. I love horror movies. Like horror movies are my favorite. And I like the horror movies that are like spirits, witchcraft, or like demon stuff. Like, you know, because I was Catholic, so like that's in there.
So, I don't, it's okay. I prefer more the horror, like the gore and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't
And
like
like
it.
those thriller ones. That's what like I like those ones.
Yeah, like I'm my wife and I, because it's like October, we've been watching like Halloween. I've never seen the Halloween movie, so we started watching it from like the beginning,
To be
like
honest,
the
I've
Halloween
only seen the
movies.
beginning because of my mom, but I have not seen the
The other one,
series,
yeah, we started watching it, and like it's I'm watching it because I know it's so popular, and I'm like, oh my god, like run away, whatever. But I've never been a fan of those movies. The only one that I actually liked that was probably Chucky, because you know it's like a possessed doll. But I like Freddy Krueger because even though he's also a serial killer, he's not real. Like he comes from your dreams. You know what I mean? So
scary.
like I need some kind of supernatural aspect to a movie for me to find it scary. Because if you're just telling me about like a serial killer, yeah, that's scary. But like call police. Shoot him, you know. But like how are you gonna get rid of like a demon? How are you gonna get rid of like magic? You know what I mean? Like that's scary to me. To me, that's scary.
I like it
what
all.
am I gonna do if like a witch tries to like, you know, put a spell on me or something? Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So yeah. So I definitely found that to be kind of creepy, like stuff. And I mean, it's like you said, it's good that they had an actual witch to help them make the movie and stuff, just to make sure they didn't overstep on
Like I
anything.
said, I think that was a really good choice on that director's point of view to like actually do it. And like I wonder why he wanted to do that. Like, is it because he wanted to respect it, or he just wanted it to be more authentic?
I think he wanted it to be more authentic. But it's okay, because then the witch came in and she's like, no, we need to make sure that we don't, you know, we need to be respectful. You know? Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, those are some nice, fun facts. Look at that. Receipts. Ooh, throw them up again. Throw them up again. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Francis, overall, out of 5 Bobas, what would you give this movie?
I'll give this movie, honestly, I'll give for like my first time watching it, I'll give this movie a 5 out of 5 Boba rating.
Wow.
Just because again, like I do like again, like knowing all that stuff, like I like the fact that they actually had like a consultant on the production team to assist. And that like they talked about a lot of like there's so many like and like more themes, like hidden themes like linger throughout the movie, but it was nice, subtle tied to the storyline that like I mean hopefully you got it. And like with the story, like I feel like it wasn't like I feel like the girls' choices, it was made because again, like they're in high school, and that's like you make these choices to like kind of bully people, to kind of be mean girls, to kind of like turn on your friends when you feel like you have a little bit of power. I feel like those were like normal choices. I don't know. They're just again like on Halloween or something, and people who or like the murderer, he goes after people who have sex, right? Who are not virgins. Like that's the theory, like these old classic horror movies, like they go after like people who aren't pure or whatever. Those kind of stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, like really? But it doesn't make sense, right? But like at least in here, like their mannerism, like it's justified in a way. Even Nancy's like behavior, it's justified because she came from like a horrible environment, all that stuff. And it works its way to up until the end. It would have been like weird for me if let's say she just acted like that just out of the get-go with no kind of backstory to kind of like see what like why is she doing that? Why is she like going after Sarah? Like why is she just being mean and want to stab her and kill her, you know? I would have been like 3 because it didn't explain itself. But because it does explain itself, like with like with the plot, I'm like 5 out of 5 Bobas.
Nice.
What about you? Okay, so how many times have you seen this movie, first of all? Like,
Girl,
how has it changed? So how has your opinion changed when you first saw it till like now?
well, when I was young, I think I saw it in the 90s for sure. I was very young when I saw it. I was an immigrant still, so I didn't really know English when I saw it.
Mhm.
So I just saw witchcraft and I was like, yes. Because think about it, like I'm like fresh off the boat watching this movie. And I think at the time, you know, like I'm just from South America and we're very superstitious, you know? So watching something with witchcraft, I was like, yeah, what? Tell me more. Like, you know, oh my God, funny story. I do remember that back then because the movie did so well. I didn't know it did well. But now that I was doing research, I was like, oh, damn, it did really good. And it became like really popular.
I'm shocked
To
they
the
never
point
had
that
a sequel during.
in my school, people were all into witchcraft because of this movie.
Oh my God.
Like girls started like literally trying to practice witchcraft. And I remember even my friends started like trying to practice witchcraft. And there was like, oh God, it was a thing. I'm embarrassed, but yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like, so I feel like back then I was more into like, you know, I was super young. I was in elementary school, like not even high school. I was in elementary school. I was like, I don't know, 10, I think, or something like that.
Okay, you know what that is remind? There's this one girl I went to elementary school with, and she was trying to get me involved in this like witch. She's like, let's write a person's name down. And she's and I just thought, I'm like, hey, whatever. I just want a friend, you know. So I was like, hey, whatever. Yeah. And then after it was just so it just got so weird because like I'm so superstitious that like she would be like, I'm gonna snap my finger and say this like this word, whatever, and I'm gonna take their soul, you know.
Oh my God. That's why I'm like, be careful what you do, be careful what you say. I don't know. And yeah, so I definitely like this movie because of that, like just stuff. I really find that interesting. I don't think there was like ever a dull moment in the movie. I don't think it was like boring at any point in time. And I feel like the movie also explained things really well. Like you said, like it had a good backstory on the characters. It explained like their karma. It gave like symbolism. So I like that as well. Obviously, you grasped my attention if you didn't realize. And do you think it was predictable, Francis? Like, do you think like you were like, oh, this is going to happen? Or like, were you surprised at some points?
I think it was the only predictable thing that I saw was when obviously when you're told like, you know, whatever you put out in the world, you get times 3. And then they started to like invoke or ask them on what they want. And I'm like, well, that's kind of foreshadowing what's going to expect. Obviously, what they're going to get back times 3 in a negative way, you know? Yeah. But like in terms of like, again, like I went in thinking that these girls were going to be a nice, I mean, even the freaking poster, you see it's all 4 of them, right? Just being like, yeah, it's us. But, and you're thinking like, oh my God, yeah, like 4 girls just like killing it in this witchcraft shit, you know? But it's not. And they're all like superficial and all that stuff in that friendship. You know, even at the end that like it kind of, the coven broke up and the reason why it broke up and all that stuff. Like, so that's why I would say like, it's predictable in the sense of like, you know, the karma aspects in a way, but in terms of like the plot and how it was going, to me, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't really saw that coming, especially again, like for the 1996, it was more, I mean, I don't think like there's anything, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, and there's anything like that kind of was like a parent figure that kind of inspired them to do that, you know, like with Halloween and like all these like scary horror movies. There's other like movies now that kind of play off those like fears and those jump scares and stuff like that. But for this one, I don't know if there was anything before that like kind of like assisted in this stuff, you know. So I don't know. Yeah. To me, it was like it wasn't foreshadowing in terms of like.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah,
would you rate it
too? Oh, I definitely give it 5 Bobas out of 5. Oh my
God, 5 out of 5 from Bobas.
You know what? The biggest reason, not just like because it's about witchcraft and I liked it, but the biggest reason I liked it was because, and now watching it now, obviously I see more of the themes that you were saying, but I respect the movie more, and I gave it 5 out of 5 because for a 90s movie, it had lead roles were women, and they
Mhm.
covered racism,
Mhm.
which was not a thing to cover back then. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So remember that scene where they're in the bathroom after swimming practice and Laura's like, oh my God, look at my comb. I found a little pube. And then they're like, oh wait, that's just Rochelle's little nappy hair.
When she said that,
Like,
girl, I was like, oh,
yeah.
like I was like, yeah, I knew she was gonna kind of say, like, see, that was kind of, I knew she was gonna be like kind of rude to the girl because she's the great theory, but I didn't thought they were gonna take it to that level. I just thought she'd be like, ew, do you smell that? It's like Rochelle, she stinks because she doesn't clean herself or something like something basic like that. Not like it's because of her
Yeah.
hair, because she has natural hair,
Yeah.
I was like,
So
oh, they're taking it there.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah. So definitely to see that in the 90s, like, so I really like it because of that. So yeah, I give it 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I can see why, because I was like, even before and I was like going into this movie, people were saying like it's a cult classic. And sometimes cult classic movies are um they're so some of them are good, like some of them like like Rocky Horror film, so good. Like like when I seen it in the theater, so good. I haven't actually watched the movie either, so I don't know, but like or like so that's a good cult classic movie. I don't
Listen,
know.
I like to get my own opinion on movies. I mean, guys, we could tell you it's 5 out of 5, but at the end of the day, it's all about perception, right?
Hey, what do we
So
know? We're just Bobas.
yeah, what do you know?
Okay, well, thank you for listening to our podcast. This is
Thank you.
Francis, and
Thank you for
Evelyn.
joining us. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, please
And
subscribe,
tell us what
like,
movies. Tell us what movies we should watch.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Tell us
And
what movies to watch.
yeah, remember, we like horror movies. I like psych thrillers. Oh, I love a really good romance. Oh, and don't let language stop you. If there's
Oh, yeah.
subtitles in English for it, we will watch it. Like whether it's Bollywood, Arabic movies, Korean, like we're here for it, guys. Okay. So just let us know what movie should we
Yes.
watch and review next.
If it's like animated, because I love anime, y'all. That'd be nice. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm down. Like anime. But thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Hopefully you have a good week or day, whatever
Yeah,
it is
be
you're having.
safe out there if you're trick-or-treating, okay?
Be safe, everyone. Have a good
Okay.
one.